everybody, and welcome to another episode of English Time with Kyle Millar. I always have to think, what is the name of this show? Yes, English Time with Kyle Millar. I don't know if I'm convinced that it's a great name or not. I don't know, but I think it's at least something that is kind of memorable and searchable, right? You can search for it. So here we are. Yeah, if you search, English Time, it's reasonable. It's good for the algorithms, I guess. But let's see how that goes. Anyhow, we are rolling. I was about to say we're live, but we're not live. As I come from a radio background, it's always a new thing for me, the podcast. Although I've done podcasts over the years, but I'm tempted to say, me gustaría decir, or I have the propensity. I am tempted to say, we're live, but we're not live, everybody. We're just recording a podcast from my house, but that's okay. I got a new microphone today, or not today, but a while ago, and hopefully it sounds okay. So maybe send me a message. Let me know if you think it sounds good. Si suena bien, si suena mal. Let me know. I appreciate your feedback on the podcast. And in fact, I would love to know who's listening and where you're listening from. With radio, I had this live interaction using Twitter or X, as they call it, or Instagram. But you can still write, of course, on Instagram and reach me and say hello. And I would love to hear from you. You can reach me on those platforms. You can also reach me by email, kyle@theenglishcollective.com. And the English Collective is my social community. It's sort of the only one that I know of, basically a social network for English learning. I call it that, but it's also a community for learners where I give classes. We have other teachers, probably some that you will recognize, that appear there. And you can join it at theenglishcollective.com. And if you want to join it, I recommend you send me a message, because I can give you a way to get a discount. There's a small fee to join it, of course. I have expenses to managing the community. But you can send me an email and say, Kyle, I want a deal on this. Dame una oferta, because we had recently an offer, which is now, as I speak, it's now closed, but I can probably find a way to reactivate it and give you a bit of a deal if you want to join the English Collective. So just write me an email, kyle@theenglishcollective.com, if you want to join, and I can get you the best price that is available at the moment. Anyway, today on the show, I want to talk about the verb to get. I was debating what to talk about today. I thought, well, why don't I just talk about a verb, which kind of brings me back to my first radio show, The Verb Circus, Los Verbos Esenciales del Inglés. And it was a lot of fun. In fact, I can talk a little bit about that experience, the Verb Circus. It was when I wanted to get into radio, probably 18 years ago. Well, before I came to Spain, in fact, antes de venir a España, before coming to Spain, I had done radio in Canada, and I fell in love with radio. Me enamoré del proceso. I fell in love with radio and the idea of radio. And when I came to Spain, I met Richard Vaughan, who gave me an opportunity. Well, he was starting the radio around that time. He was starting Vaughan Radio. And I didn't start on the radio right away. The radio existed for a few years before I started. And I spoke to Richard about doing a show. I wanted to do a show. And he said, well, okay, but he wanted me to do 4 pilots, 4 episodes, not one. He said, anyone can do, cualquier persona puede hacer un programa de radio bien. Anyone can do 1 episode well, but I want you to do 4. I want you to do 4 episodes. I don't know why it wasn't 3 or 5. It was 4. He had that number. You have to do 4 episodes. So I came up with this idea for a show based on verbs. The verb circus, los verbos esenciales del inglés. And in each case, I did an episode all about 1 verb. Or sometimes 2 verbs like make and do. That was 1 episode. So I did that, and then it was popular. And in those days, we had what was called Aprende Inglés Televisión, which started. And Aprende Inglés Televisión wasn't Vaughn Television. This was Aprende Inglés Televisión, which was together with Vaughn. It was a partnership between Vaughn and Unidad Editorial. And they created this, which is like El Mundo and those things, right? So they created this entity called Aprende Inglés Televisión. And we did a show. I got involved in that by doing a show called the Vaughan Inglés 4.0, which was a course. It was called 4.0. It was very good. It is very good. It was a course because it was, it was called 4.0 because it was a course delivered through 4 channels. So it was delivered via internet. There was a web-based course, like a portal. There was a book collection. There was a TV show. And there was a radio show. So I was one of the TV teachers, and I had also been given the opportunity to do the radio show. So I did the radio show, and that was a lot of fun. And then we adapted. The channel was looking for more content, so I was offered to adapt the Verb Circus radio show to TV. Anyway, I'm off on a tangent here, guys. Estoy ya por la tangente. Let's talk about the verb to get, okay? Vamos al lío. Let's get into it, everybody. It's the verb to get. Es el rey de los verbos. It's the king of verbs. Yeah. The crowd goes wild, right? For the king of verbs. Maybe I need a bit more volume there. How about that? Yeah. Mis efectos. Yeah, I'm sort of getting used to this self-production thing. You'll probably hear some sounds and some things happening in future shows as I experiment with my technology. But I also think I'm going to try to keep this podcast a bit less polished, right? This is you and me. You're in my house here with me now. Yo estoy en mi casa. You know, I'm in my house. I'm not in a radio studio. This is the real deal. This is you and me, tú y yo. Con todo, con los fallos que cometo, con los intentos. You'll hear it all here on this show, English Time with Kyle Millar, but we're going to do it in English, all right? Let's talk about the verb to get, guys. Es el rey de los verbos, right? I call it the king of verbs because we have so many different meanings, so many uses of this verb, okay? So here we have use number 1, conseguir, obtener, recibir, okay, to get something. So you have, like, in the sense of receive. Now, to receive can be passive, like to get an email. We're sitting at home, bing, you have a new email. You got an email. Okay? Receive an email. obtain, obtener can be obtain, which maybe implies that some work was done. You studied hard to obtain your university degree, to obtain something. And then we also have another verb, which is to fetch, que es como ir a por. And we often say go and get, or fetch. Go get my dog goes and gets the stick. Fetch, Fifi. And I throw my stick, and Fifi goes and gets it. So, use number 1, conseguir, obtener, recibir, this idea of receiving things. Okay? And I have a little, I'm going to use my book here, the Verb Circus book that I wrote whenever it was, 15 years ago or so. And there's a little story here. It says, I got my driver's license when I was 17 years old. That's true. In Canada, you can get your license, sacar tu carnet, we say to get your license, when you turn 16. However, after passing the tests, it's necessary to have a limited beginner's license for 6 months. It's very common to get your driver's license in Canada as soon as possible because of the great distances between communities. I consider myself a good driver. I've gotten a few parking tickets, but I've never gotten a speeding ticket. I get about 12 emails per day. About half the emails I get each day are related to my work, and the other half are personal. Like most people these days, I don't get many personal letters. I love getting personal letters and postcards, but nowadays, hoy en día, people use email much more often than anything else to communicate. I get emails from my family almost every day, which makes living abroad easier. To get. Okay, conseguir, obtener, recibir. Now a little bit of translation. Let's practice with some translation. Okay? Number 1, ¿dónde conseguiste ese libro? And I want you to say this out loud. ¿Dónde conseguiste ese libro? Where did you get that book? Where did you get that book? Okay. La semana pasada recibí una carta de mi hermano. I got a letter from my brother last week. La semana pasada. I got a letter from my brother last week. ¿Cuál es el mejor sitio para comprar una máquina cortacésped? Where is the best place to get a lawnmower? Máquina cortacésped, lawn mower. Lawn mower. Remember, to mow the lawn, cortar césped, to mow the lawn mower. So, to cut the grass or mow the lawn. Okay. Now we're gonna do a little. Let's do another challenge here. We're going with this verb and this use of this verb, and then we'll go to another one. So let's do a little interrogative. All right, I'll give you the answer. Yo la respuesta y tú la pregunta. ¿Vale? Okay, number 1. She got 7 gifts. 7. ¿Cuántos? How many gifts did she get? ¿Cuántos regalos recibió? How many gifts did she get? Okay, number 2. We got authorization from the mayor. Who did you get authorization from? Who did you get authorization from? I got the invitation yesterday. When did you get the invitation? When did you get the invitation? Okay, so that's the first use of get. Conseguir, obtener, recibir, all together. Now, the second use of get is these reflexive structures, estructuras reflexivos. Bueno, en castellano, ponerse, hacerse. Okay? So this is where you say, to get dark, oscurecerse, ¿no? Ponerse oscuro. Cansarse, to get tired. Ponerse mejor, to get better. Empeorarse, to get worse. Ponerse oscuro, eso es, to get dark. Ensuciarse, to get dirty. Vestirse, to get dressed. Secarse, to get dry. Perderse, to get lost. Hacerse daño, to get hurt. Emborracharse, to get drunk. Asustarse, to get scared. For example, right? Hay muchos ejemplos. So we have these reflexive structures, and we can do a little bit of translation here as well. Okay? No te enfades. Oye, no te enfades. Don't get angry. Yeah. Hungry, no. Angry. Don't get angry. No te enfades. Está oscureciendo. It's getting dark. It's getting dark. It's getting dark. Yeah, so like ponerse or oscurecer, no? To get dark. It's getting dark. It's getting dark. ¿Te estás poniendo malo? Are you getting sick? Are you getting sick? Okay. No te alarmes. Don't get alarmed. Yeah, come on, man. Don't get alarmed. No te alarmes. Don't get alarmed. Don't get alarmed. Okay, so this is the second use of the verb to get. This is the reflexive form. To get as in, it's like saying to become. My arms became tired. My arms got tired, right? Okay, use number 3. Llegar a, pero cuidado, I'm going to give you some tips with this, guys. Okay, llegar a un sitio, to get to a place, to get to the office, to get to school, to get to work. Llegar a un sitio, okay? But there are some little details to consider here, okay? So we have to get to a place, but we have to mention. It's not the same as llegar exactly, because with llegar, which is arrive, I should say. It's not the same as to arrive. Okay, to get to, llegar a is to get to, is to arrive or to get to. But we can simply say, estamos llegando. We're arriving. We can't say we're getting. No, we're arriving. We're getting here. We're getting there. We're getting to school. We're getting back. So with get, we always have to say where. So we say the place. But there are 4 places where we don't say to and then the place. We don't need the to, and those are here, there, home, and back, right? To get here, to get there, to get home, to get back, right? So I got here at 6 o'clock. What time did you get here, Kyle? Oh, I got here at 6 o'clock. I went to work and then I got back later on. I got back 2 hours later than I should, or whatever, I should have. Okay, so llegar a, to get to a place. So let's practice with a little bit of translation here. Llegué a la reunión antes que ellos. Llegué a la reunión antes que ellos. I got to the meeting before they did. Antes que ellos. I got to the meeting before they did. Llegué de vuelta anoche. I got back last night. Anoche, claro. I got back last night. Normalmente esta noche cuando llego a casa, It's usually dark when I get home. Cuando llego a casa. It's usually dark when I get home. Me alegro de haber llegado al hotel antes de que regresaran. I'm glad I got to the hotel before they got back. I'm glad I got to the hotel before they got back. Así que fíjate, to the hotel before they got back. Te lo contaré todo cuando regrese. I'll tell you all about it when I get back. Yeah, I'll tell you all about it when I get back. Okay, let's do another interrogative challenge. I should have a little trumpet or something for the interrogative challenge. Actually, I can do a voice. Yeah, I could do the. Check it out. I'll do this voice. This is the new, probably today only because I don't like it that much, but we'll call it the
interrogative challenge.
How's that? Epic, right? Although it sounds like Darth Vader, or I don't know. It sounds it's too menacing, right? It's not positive enough. But I'll come up with something better. Okay, something more más alegre, no? For next time, maybe some trumpets. Anyway, I do have this. Wait now. There we go. I have some. I have this. Da-da-da. Anyway, interrogative challenge. I'm going to give you the answer, and you can ask me the question I've already answered. Okay, we got home at 7:30. What time did you get home? Hey, what time did you get home? Okay. The girls got here first. Who got here first? Who got here first? They couldn't get back because of the snowstorm. Why couldn't they get back? Why couldn't they get back? I get to work at 8:30 every morning. What time do you get to work every morning? Okay, so there you go. A little bit of warming up here, and we're going to move on to the final. Well, warming up, I should say, a bit of interrogative, a bit of a challenge, I should say. But let's move on and get into the final exam or the final use of the verb to get. Okay, que es poder hacer algo. This is a bit of a stretch, but it's an interesting one. Okay, to get to, in the sense of to have the opportunity to, or to be able to. Like, I hope I get to meet the new manager. I hope I get to visit Russia someday. Right? Poder hacer algo, tener la oportunidad, to have the opportunity to. Right? So I'm going to read my little story here from the book, The Verb Circus, which is available now wherever fine books are sold. The Verb Circus. Yes. I think that deserves. There we go. Yes. Okay. I travel. No, but it is a good book, and it has sold very well, and I recommend it if you are looking to. The idea is really to machacar, right? To drill in the basics with this book. Translations, interrogative, focused translation, common mistakes. It's all there. Okay. To get to. So here is a short story. I travel a lot, but there are still a lot of places that I hope I get to see. I'm fortunate that I've gotten to do a lot of interesting traveling over the last few years. In 2009, I got to spend 7 weeks in South America. I got to see the Iguazu Falls. The falls lie on the border between Argentina and Brazil and are very close to Paraguay. I got to see the falls from the Argentinian side, but I didn't get to see the falls from the Brazilian side because I didn't have the necessary Brazilian visa. It was amazing to get to see the water plunge the height of a 24-story building. But the Brazilian side is known to have a more spectacular panoramic view. I hope I get to see it someday. It's true. On the same trip, I also got to visit Machu Picchu. Obviously, getting to see one of the 7 wonders of the world is an amazing experience. And Machu Picchu didn't disappoint. I got to experience it in a traditional way as well. I hiked with a friend of mine from the city of Cusco, the historic capital of the Inca Empire, which on its own was a wonderful place to visit. And that's true. That was a great trip. I really enjoyed it very much, that trip to South America. And I got to see, I wish I had gotten to see the Iguazu Falls from the Brazilian side. But like I said in the story, I didn't have the visa. I think it was $50 for the visa. And it just seemed like a lot for probably one day. Because I had a bit of an agenda. I didn't have a huge amount of time. But it was a great trip. Yes. And the falls, the Iguazu Falls are incredible. One of the great, it was a highlight of that trip for sure. Now, in the book, I also mention a little expression. We can talk about an expression here for a moment. We have to get one's way, which is like salirse con la suya. Ella siempre se sale con la suya. She always gets her way. She always gets her way. We can also say she always gets her own way. También se puede decir, okay? To get your way, to get your own way. Let's translate a few sentences before we go. Ojalá tenga la oportunidad de conocer al nuevo presidente. I hope I get to meet the new president. I hope I get to meet the new president. Ojalá tuviera la oportunidad de ver mis viejos amigos más a menudo. I wish I got to see my old friends more often. Ojalá tuviera. In this case, it's wish, not hope, but wish, because I'm sort of lamenting the reality. In this case, we use wish, which is another topic for a show, right? Wish versus hope. I wish I got to see my old friends more often. Me alegro de haber tenido la ocasión, voy a decir, me alegro de haber tenido la ocasión de ver a Wayne Gretzky jugar al hockey antes de retirarse. That's true. I'm glad I got to see Wayne Gretzky play hockey before he retired. And he was known as the Great One. Wayne Gretzky, one of the most recognized, one of the biggest heroes or celebrities in Canada, among Canadians, I will say. And he holds so many records for points and scoring in the game of hockey. They call him the Great One, in fact. And I'm glad that I did. I got to see him in, I'm going to say 1991 or 92. I got to see him play live in Montreal. It was incredible. Anyway, we're out of time, everybody. I hope you feel you have learned something about the verb to get today on the show. We've practiced with this verb, the king of verbs. And I want to thank you for listening. I'll be back again very soon with another episode. Remember, if you want to reach out to me, or say hello, you can email me, Kyle, Kyle, at theenglishcollective.com. You can also find me on social media, on Instagram, or on X, as they call it. I'm Kyle Millar is the name there. Millar. I-M-K-Y-L-E-M-I-L-L-A-R. Thanks for listening, everybody. I'll be back soon with another episode. Take care. Have a great week, and we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.